Man, I've been talking about this thing called Tai Chi Energy in a couple of videos, and people think I'm talking about some Avatar, Last Airbender, Dragon Ball, Goku, some kind of crazy shit. Like I believe that doing Tai Chi makes you have special powers. So I'm getting ready to break down what I mean by Tai Chi Energy in this video. What's up, y'all? My name is Prince and I'm an urban acolyte. This is my channel, Golden Bell Training, where I talk about fitness, nutrition, martial arts, and I'm giving you guys all the tools you need to become the baddest mofo in your dojo. So I'm gonna talk about Tai Chi Energy in this video, and this is coming from a lot of people trying to clap at me in that video I did last year about the fight in China between the MMA coach Xu Xiaodong and the fake Tai Chi master Wei Lei. And that dude is a fraud. I don't know why it didn't come across in the video, but since then I've actually come across the TV show that made Wei Lei famous in China, and I do have proof that he's fake. So in this video where I talk about Wei Lei's fight with Xu Xiaodong, you know, I basically said, look, this guy is a fraud, but if you're a Tai Chi person and you want to fight anyone, whether it's somebody on the street or in competition or whatever, right? It's not just about knowing Tai Chi. You have to understand the philosophy, and not understand it on an intellectual level. You have to embody the Tai Chi principles, right? The Tai Chi principles, there's a book called The Tai Chi Principles. I didn't know that the Tai Chi principles, you know, some of them go back like 400 years or dated, but I think they just found the book like within the last 150, 160 years, which kind of makes me wonder if 160 years ago somebody like wrote these and then like pinned them, like said somebody else wrote them who was really old, because that's kind of what people do in Chinese culture, right? I'm gonna attribute this to not just in Chinese culture. Hell, there's books in the Bible that are that way too, right? Solomon didn't write Ecclesiastes. It was written by a woman. But anyway, so my point is, I don't know how old the Tai Chi classics, the Tai Chi principles actually are. The Tai Chi classics, that's the name of the book. I don't know how old they really are, but these Tai Chi principles like describe, they're like poems that talk about Tai Chi, what Tai Chi, the martial art, is supposed to be, the philosophy behind the art, the principles behind the art. And in them, you know, you hear this thing about Peng, Lu, Ji, An, right? If you know the Grasp the Sparrow's Tail series of movements, that's what they are, Peng, Lu, Ji, An. These are moves, but it's also what we call Tai Chi energy. These are Tai Chi energies. Not talking about the movement of chi or some supernatural force or anything, but it's the flavor of the move. This is what you're doing, right? But your body is also doing something. You got to understand this, right? So small movement is bigger than big movement. Small movement is better than big movement, but no movement is the king of all movement, right? So just because, right, I think Jackie Chan said this in the Karate Kid movie with Jaden Smith, right? Just there's a difference between being still and not moving, right? Just because the body doesn't look like it's moving, it can totally be in motion, right? This is one of the reasons why Tai Chi is trained slowly, right? Is to you train your body, you start to understand Peng, you start to understand your alignments, but now when you move, you got to maintain those alignments. You've got to maintain this this feeling of Peng, this Tai Chi energy, right? And that energy, my Sifu calls it Tai Chi energy because he doesn't say Peng, because Peng is a move, but Peng has two meanings. And then it's crazy because Peng has no meaning, right? Right. This is why it's so difficult to explain these things. We're talking about a word that has multiple meanings but has no meaning to people outside of internal martial arts, right? If you walk up to a Mandarin speaking person, say, excuse me, what is this guy on YouTube's talking about this thing Peng, right? And they have this term Peng Yo, which means embrace friends. And they're like, well, embrace something, but it doesn't make sense. It does not mean anything, right? And so then when I start talking about this stuff in a video and random people on YouTube watch it and they're like, you're talking about, this doesn't make sense, and you're sipping the Kool-Aid, dude. And it's like, yo, what do you know about martial arts? What do you know about Chinese martial arts, right? There's a push, and then there's really pushing someone. There's a punch, and then there's really punching someone. There's throwing a punch just with your arm, and then there's throwing a punch from your waist, from your dantian, meaning all of your body is connected, right? A person who practices what we term internal martial arts, their body has a different way of meaning. They have a different type of strength that's not the same as using your athletic muscles, not the same kind of strength that you would use to go and deadlift or go and do a bench press or go and do a handstand or some funky exercise in CrossFit, right? It's not the same thing, right? And so when I talk about internal martial arts versus external martial arts, I'm not talking about the movement of chi or anything else. It's really, I'm talking about developing this awareness of your body first, right? You develop an awareness of your body. You start to learn how to move things differently from how you were taught, growing up, right? It's actually remembering the way that you moved when you were a baby, right? So it's hitting the reset button. And that's why I say, like, look, if you want to go do combat sports, if you want to go fight in a ring, the octagon, don't do Tai Chi, don't do Xingyi, don't do Bagua, don't do Ili Chin. Does that mean it's because these arts don't work? No, it's because there's a steeper learning curve. And that's not to say that Muay Thai or boxing or something is dumbed down. It's that, look, I can go join a boxing gym, and in 6 months, I should be able to go do an amateur fight if I'm doing all the conditioning stuff. But 6 months of Tai Chi, you haven't even scratched the surface yet, especially the way we live today. Now, 200 years ago, or if I go out somewhere and go train with a hermit where I have no distractions, and things might be different. But like I said, you got to understand your body. You've got to develop this new level of awareness that the average person doesn't have, right? Because we're so turned off, right? Look, I mean, there's cars on the highway. You know, we don't walk for transportation anymore. We communicate through, smartphones and computers and the internet. So we're very disconnected from the body, right? And if you listen to my podcast, the Embodied Mind podcast, we talk about this, right? We talk about the connection between the body and the mind, the way the brain works, the way the neurons work, the neural connections. So in our westernized society, moving into the age of information, we've got to relearn that. We've got like a long way to go as far as recapturing that, right? And so you got to start there. You've got to start with developing these internal connections, and before until you can do that, you can't even get into the martial side, right? That's why in Ili Chin, right, we talk about first you got to learn the philosophies, concepts, and principles, and we've got that in books. But knowing it on an academic level, understanding it, the philosophy intellectually, doesn't really do. Okay, if someone asks you a question, you can spit it out. Okay, what are the 13 points? But can you do the 13 points? Because it's better to be able to do them than to just know them. You might know them to get the question right on your belt test, but if you can't do them, you have no kung fu. You get where I'm going, right? So knowing this stuff is good, but actually doing it is the whole point. To be able to do it, right? Like Alan Watts says, do you do it or does it do you?